You did it. You clicked on this video. And just for that, I applaud you, because 99% of people probably won't click on this video. But by you clicking on this video, it means that you are serious about actually getting your finances in order to become financially free. No more telling yourself that you'll start next week, or you need to start at the beginning of the month because you're more selfishly aware if you start on the 1st. Or maybe it's, I want to start at the beginning of the new year because that can be my New Year's resolution. No, if you actually want to get your personal finances in line with your future and your goals, that starts today and changes need to be made. Before we dive in, guys, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon for future content and for part 2 of this series so that you guys are notified and you know exactly when this video comes out, because you're gonna wanna stay tuned. This is gonna be a 5-part series and it's just gonna be a lot to unpack. So stick around, buckle up, and let's get to it. I know when it comes to your finances, you've probably made some bad decisions, because we all have. We've all made bad decisions that have put us in a bind, that have set us back years sometimes, all because of one decision that we made that we just weren't aware of and how it would actually impact our finances in the future. But the difference is that you clicked on this video because you actually want to make a change. Most people, when they make a bad decision, or say they made a dumb purchase, maybe it was a brand new car, or maybe they took out a bunch of credit card debt, maybe they just don't know how to save or invest money. Most people just sit around and wait for things to change, but that is not how things change. You have to take action, and you have to have steps that you are going to follow to push yourself in order to reach goals. And that is actually the point of this part 1 in this series. If you actually want to change your future, change the trajectory of your life, especially with your personal finances, then it's going to start with you. It's not going to start with your parents. It's not going to start with your grandparents or friends or be a government handout. It's going to start with you, and you have to decide to actually make those changes for yourself. You have to have self-accountability, or else nothing will change. And I'm proud of you for clicking on this video, because that means that you actually do want change. This is going to be hard for a lot of you. It's going to take some soul searching. It's going to be accountable. It's going to be actually digging deep and figuring out what do you want to do with your life. A lot of people are faced with the same financial decisions. Do I go buy a new car? Do I get coffee every day on the way out to my work? Do I go out with coworkers and get lunch? Do I eat at home? Do I go out to the bar and drink? All these different things add up. And for most people, they're not taught about finances. They're not taught about personal finances. So if they're not taught in school or by parents or by a mentor, what do? A lot of times they just go into debt. And that is not what we want to do. Everyone can go into debt. It's really easy to get a credit card. Credit card companies love people that take out, all this loans and this, all this credit, because that means that they're going to get interest, and overall that's going to add up over time for them. But that's not what we want to do. We want to focus on ourselves, focus on our path, and actually create attainable goals in order for you to actually meet those so that you have something to push for. And that leads me to the point of this part 1 in this series, which is actually defining your financial goals. What are your actual goals that you want to obtain, that you want to reach? If you don't define them and then actually plan them out, how you will actually strategize to accomplish those goals, you will never reach those goals and you will fail. A goal without an actual plan, without a way to actually implement how you are going to achieve these goals, is just a dream. You can sit there and think about all this money that you want, all this, this house that you want, this car, these trips. But unless you actually plan them out, write down step by step, somewhere that you can see every single day and track your progress on how you are doing to reach those goals, you will fail. These goals need to be specific. They need to be exactly how long it's going to take you to reach these goals, how much you're trying to save to reach your goal, and exactly what it is for. If none of this is in play, then you will not reach your goals, because it's not specific enough to keep you motivated to actually reach your goal. If I say I just want to make a lot of money, that's not going to be a good way to actually save money. But if I say I want to save $3,000 in the next 10 months so I can go on a trip to Iceland, that is more specific. You can say I want to save $3,000, so I'm going to save $300 a month for the next 10 months, and that'll exactly get me to my $3,000. That's being specific, not just, I want money for a trip. Because you're not gonna reach your goals if it's not specific, because you're not gonna be able to track it, you're not gonna be motivated, and it's just not gonna play out for you. So step one is writing down in your journal or your notebook or wherever you're keeping track exactly what the goal you want to reach is. A really good goal to start out is to save an emergency fund. Now, I know a lot of people say an emergency fund of $1,000. I like to stretch that and say $2,000 to start out, just because we know how the economy is and we know what inflation has done to the power of our dollar. And so by saying, I want to save an emergency fund of $2,000 in the next X amount, so however many months or weeks or whatever you want to do to save, that's what you want to do. So be specific, and it can be any financial goal, but I would suggest starting out with an emergency fund, especially if you don't have one. Emergency fund eventually will be 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, because that's how much you're supposed to have saved up, just in case something bad happens or something unexpected happens. You now have an emergency fund for those unexpected costs. Maybe it's hospitals, maybe it's a car, maybe you get laid off and you just don't have income, any of that. But the point is, be specific about a goal. It can be any financial goal that you want, but if I was to suggest what a financial goal to start out with in order to get your finances right, it would be to create an emergency fund of at least $1,000 to $2,000. Step two of this is going to be listing all the debts that you have. That could be credit card, medical, loan, auto, home, whatever it is, your student loans, whatever it is. List all your debts just so that you know exactly how much you are in debt. This is crucial because most people can't even tell you how much they are in debt. And so by listing it out, you can kind of see exactly where your money is starting to go. So you now have an emergency fund. You now have your debts laid out and how you're going to pay those off. Step three is now going to be writing down other financial goals that you want to have in the future. These can be long term, these can be short term, it does not matter. We just want to start writing down goals that we can actually reach and set deadlines for them. Ideally, you would be out of debt already, but some people aren't, but they still want to be able to save and reach other financial goals while at the same time paying off their debt. This makes it to where you're actually reaching and striving to actually accomplish something else other than just paying off your debt. I know that can be tiring. That's probably the best thing to do, but sometimes it's okay, because as long as you're staying motivated by being able to save for other things as well, then it's okay. I'm not saying that that's the best option for everyone, because sometimes people's interest rates are just absolutely crazy, and the best thing to do is just knock your debt out as fast as possible. But if that is one way that you're going to stay motivated, is by creating small future goals that you can actually reach and save for, then that's okay, as long as that is what is making you stay motivated. But the goal here is to have no debt, have an emergency fund, and then figure out what your next steps are financially. Set those deadlines, set a goal. Maybe you want to buy a house, maybe you want to buy a car, maybe you want to go on that trip. Whatever it is, just start saving money, but make sure you have a clear, defined deadline on how you're going to do it, how much, and when it is going to be due. Deadlines will create an urgency. It'll make you want to reach those goals. You can't just say, I'll do it eventually, or I'm going to do it soon, because then you won't be successful. You have to make sure that you're trying to hold yourself accountable by having those deadlines, because personally, I know exactly how it feels to set deadlines, and then it feels like I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to go. And it just puts me in this hyperdrive, this hyper mode where I want to achieve faster. I want to do it even faster than what I set. I'm challenging myself, and by challenging myself, it makes me go work harder, figure out ways to make more money, figure out ways to save, cut back, all the good stuff that we're going to be going into later on in this series. But until then, guys, stay disciplined and stay accountable. You have your goals. You're setting up an emergency fund. You know what your debts look like. You have due dates, and stay tuned. Hit that bell icon, because part 2 is coming out very soon. Like and subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss the next video. And until next time, remember guys, you can do all things through him that gives you strength. See ya.